Welcome back. Today we're diving into the world of transit history to uncover the most bizarre, over-engineered, and flat-out weirdest buses ever built. From silver spaceships on the American highway to British prototypes hiding aerospace secrets, these aren't your average commuters. We're counting down 10 mechanical misfits that defied logic and changed transportation forever. Think you've seen it all? Wait until you see the six-wheeled Titan or the rolling bank vault. Let's hit the road and explore these forgotten giants of the highway. IFA H6B. Finally, we meet the rugged IFA H6B. Emerging from 1950s East Germany, this bus looks like a heavy-duty military truck that accidentally got fitted with windows. Its massive protruding snout and heavy truck wheels define Soviet-era industrial brutalism. The bizarre part? It shared its chassis and engine directly with heavy freight trucks. Weighing nearly 20,000 pounds with only 120 horsepower, it was painfully slow, often struggling to reach 45 miles per hour. Even crazier, transport demand was so high that this slow beast was frequently forced to tow a fully loaded passenger trailer through the freezing streets of East Berlin. The H6B wasn't about comfort, it was about sheer survival and getting workers to their factories. It was loud, vibrating, and practically indestructible. Would you have the patience to ride a bus towing another bus at just 30 miles per hour? Drop a yes or no below. The IFA was a roaring diesel beast, but our next vehicle is eerily silent yet massive. Kessbohrer Setra S10. Next, we have the elegant and revolutionary Kessbohrer Setra S10. Introduced in 1951, it didn't look bizarre in a grotesque way. It looked beautifully futuristic, like a sleek, aerodynamic silver bullet luxury jetliner that had forgotten its wings on the tarmac. With its panoramic curved windows and rounded body, it looked ready to glide down the Autobahn at high speeds. But the mind-blowing part of the S10 was completely invisible. It had no chassis. The name Setra translates from German to self-supporting. While other buses were heavy metal boxes bolted onto truck frames, Kessbohrer engineered the world's first true unibody bus. The body shell itself acted as the frame, constructed from a complex, lightweight steel grid. Furthermore, they shoved the engine into the rear, isolating passengers from noise and heat. This radical departure meant the S10 was incredibly light and fast, offering a smooth ride that revolutionized the entire global coach industry forever. AEC Routemaster RM1. First up, we have a familiar face hiding a high-tech secret, the AEC Routemaster prototype RM1. Before the red double-decker became London's ultimate icon, it debuted in 1954 as this slightly awkward-looking prototype. It looks like a standard Routemaster that got stung by a massive bee, featuring a flatter, surprised front fascia rather than the refined grille we know today. Despite its compact size, its engineering was revolutionary. While 1950s buses were typically built like heavy tractors, the RM1 used lightweight World War II aerospace technology. With an integral body and independent coil suspension, features unheard of for transit vehicles back then, it was essentially a 64-seat sports car designed for tight city streets. This unpolished machine proved the lightweight concept that paved the way for the legendary fleet. Have you ever ridden a classic double-decker? Let us know in the comments. Mack C49. Get ready for the rolling bank vault, the Mack C49. If a solid steel brick could drive, it would look exactly like this. Built in the late 1950s for major American cities, the C49 was the absolute epitome of function over form. It was an unapologetically flat-faced rectangular box on wheels, featuring tiny windows and the famous Mack Bulldog hood ornament. Standing next to it, the bus felt less like a vehicle and more like a rolling fortress designed to survive. The engineering was all about pure brute durability. Equipped with the legendary Thermodyne diesel engine, it produced an earth-shaking amount of torque to move massive crowds. The suspension was incredibly stiff to handle extreme passenger crush loads without sagging, meaning every pothole sent a bone-rattling shockwave straight up your spine. Riding a C49 was a loud, vibrating experience, but these machines were virtually unkillable, running for millions of miles through harsh environments like New York City. GMC Buffalo PD4107. Cruising in next is the unmistakable GMC Buffalo PD4107. In the late 1960s, you couldn't miss this mechanical Buffalo at any Greyhound station. It featured a bizarre stepped roofline where the rear section sat much higher than the driver, making it look more like a silver spaceship than a bus. This humpback design was purely strategic. It gave passengers a panoramic view while creating massive baggage compartments underneath. In the back sat a screaming Detroit diesel V8, a powerhouse known for its distinct howling exhaust note. While it offered the ultimate American road trip experience, that high roofline made low bridges and tight garages a total nightmare for drivers. Have you ever taken a long-distance bus trip across the country? It was a highway legend, but while America built luxury cruisers, East Germany was building a blunt-nosed beast. Guy Arab Utility Bus. Get ready for the sharp edges of the Guy Arab Utility Bus. Imagine a classic, charming British double-decker designed by someone using only a straight edge and a ruler. Built during the height of World War II, this bus is visually shocking due to its complete lack of elegance. It has zero aerodynamic curves. The roof is flat, the sides are vertical, and the windows are strictly rectangular. It looks like a giant metal shoebox hastily slapped together. This aggressively boxy appearance resulted from wartime engineering restrictions. Because steel and aluminum were needed for fighter planes, manufacturers were legally forbidden from using complex curves that required panel beating. The body used simple flat panels and wood, while passengers sat on bare wooden slats to save leather for the military. It was freezing, uncomfortable, and rattled enough to wake the dead. Yet these bizarre war machines kept the workforce moving through the Blitz, a true testament to survival engineering. Marmon Harrington Trolley Bus. Gliding into our next spot is the Marmon Harrington Trolley Bus. From the waist down, it looks like a standard American coach with Art Deco styling and chrome bumpers. However, look up and its bizarre nature is instantly revealed. Sprouting from its roof are two giant spring-loaded electrical poles reaching up like insect antennas to overhead copper wires. This heavy-duty creature was permanently tethered to the city's power grid, operating with zero gasoline decades before modern EVs. The engineering secret was its total lack of an internal combustion engine. Instead, a massive electric traction motor sat under the floor, providing instant, violent torque. Despite weighing over 18,000 pounds, it could accelerate from a dead stop with shocking speed, outpacing regular cars in eerie silence. Riding one was a surreal experience, devoid of vibration but with a unique electric hum. But beware, if the driver swerved too sharply, those poles would snap off, leaving the silent giant dead in traffic. Guy Wolfrunian. Finally, we present the weirdest, most bizarre classic bus ever conceived, the Guy Wolfrunian. Introduced in 1959, this British double-decker possesses a strangely bulging front end, an asymmetrical grille, and an entrance door placed awkwardly ahead of the front wheels. The driver doesn't sit behind or in front of the engine, but right next to a massive, protruding engine housing. It looks like an alien spaceship failing to disguise itself. The engineering was purely chaotic. Guy Motors tried to pack every experimental technology into one vehicle. They shoved the heavy diesel engine completely to the right side, destroying the weight distribution. They added complex air suspension and early disc brakes, tech that was incredibly rare and untested back then. The result was a catastrophic failure. The bus was constantly breaking down, handled terribly, and the brakes frequently caught fire. It stands today as the ultimate historical example of overambitious engineering gone horribly, horribly wrong. Tatra T400. Rolling in next is the mighty Tatra T400, and this thing is an absolute unit. At first glance, you might think your eyes are deceiving you. Why does a city transit bus need 3 axles? This Czechoslovakian mammoth looks like a standard bus stretched on a torture rack, sporting 6 massive wheels. It resembled a heavy-duty logging truck more than a public commuter vehicle. The reason for this bizarre layout was a mix of immense weight and Tatra's famous over-engineering philosophy. To support heavy electrical equipment and hundreds of tightly packed passengers, 2 axles simply weren't enough. Engineers adapted their legendary military truck chassis, featuring a central tubular backbone and independently swinging half axles. This allowed the beast to distribute its tremendous weight and glide over rough, war-torn cobblestone streets without snapping its rigid frame. It was a masterpiece of Cold War durability that remained in service for decades, carrying loads that would crush any normal bus. Crown Supercoach Tandem. Crashing into our next spot is the legendary Crown Supercoach Tandem. If you grew up in the US, you know the classic yellow school bus, but this California-built Leviathan looks like it's on heavy steroids. Measuring a massive 40 feet long, its most bizarre feature is the tandem rear axles. 4 huge wheels grouped together like a heavy-duty semi-truck. With its iconic rounded Art Deco front, it looked like a runaway train driving down the highway. The engineering behind this beast focused on extreme capacity and unparalleled safety. The tandem axles were absolutely necessary to support the massive weight of up to 91 passengers. Even crazier, it utilized a mid-engine layout, hiding a massive horizontal Cummins diesel engine under the floor for a surprisingly low center of gravity. These buses were built so durable, they regularly outlived their original drivers, often staying in daily service for 40 years. It was an engineering triumph. From wartime survival machines to experimental failures that literally caught fire, the history of the bus is far crazier than most people realize. These 10 vehicles prove that engineering is often a wild journey of trial and error. Which of these mechanical monsters was your favorite? Would you dare to ride the fire-prone Wolfrunian or the silent high-torque trolley bus? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip through transit history, hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.